All right. In the second case, I would like to say that the risk is always in the half of the side. Correct. Suppose you no, want to sell after a certain period of time. Then you would be happy if the price increases, right? But if you have a loss if the price decreases, am I right? But if you want to buy, you will be at a loss if the price increases, and you would be happy if you would have a profit if the price decreases. All right. So it's always half of the side at which you are standing. Whether you are buying or selling, you have to look into that one is whether you have to hedge your risk if the price decreases, or if you have to hedge your risk if the price increases, depending upon whether you are buying or selling. So is these two perspective of risk clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if it is clear. Then I'll move on to the next definition, which is spread. So all those technique which we are trying to see is basically will be applicable in some point of time, or some a certain kind of investor. It's not that one, if you take one strategy and you can apply it in everywhere. For a different scenario, for a different situation and different kind of investor, you might have to have a different strategy. So the first thing, we'll start with the spread. So what do you mean by the spread? So basically, a spread is a position consisting of only either call or puts, not mixing both these together, in which some are holded and some are written. Correct. So from this spread, the first one which we will be looking it as a bull spread. And what does it says? It's a position, same thing with addition of that, holding a call option at lower strike price and writing a call option at higher strike price. There is one more thing for the same asset and same expiry. So in a spread, either what you do is either you take a call options, all the call options, some of them you write, some of them you hold, and or you take a put option and some of them you are writing and some of them you are holding. So that's basically a spread. When we call it as a bull spread, what you do, you hold a call option at a lower strike price and you write a call option at a higher strike price, right? So let's say that so one more thing, we have, let's say that for an example, we have two call option for the same asset, correct? Let's say that maturity time is capital T and the strike price are K1 and K2. K2 such that basically K2 is greater than K1. So what you are doing is correct. If you look at here, you are holding, right, holding at K1 and you are writing this call option at K2. Yes or no? As per the definition, is it correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Please respond. All of you, please.
Yes,
Say
sir.
at least yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So suppose you are doing this one, you are paying a premium because you are holding. So you are paying a premium for K1 and you are getting a premium for K2. And yesterday we talked about if the price, if the different strike price, how the call option premium would change. So keeping that one in mind, can you tell me whose premium will be high for K1 or K2? Yes. Abhay? Your voice was not clear. Abhay, can you tell me whose premium would be high, K1 or K2? Mintu? Jatin?
K1.
So the premium would be high for the K1? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So one more thing here, a term which you would listen this one is the difference between the premium is called bull call spread. So that is the amount which actually you are paying to get this bull spread, right? Is there any lag? I mean, what I'm writing and what I'm speaking.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So why? I mean, today, I mean, I'm not feeling energy from your side. Why? Please ask me if you are not getting this concept. Can I go ahead? Please raise your hand at least if I can go ahead. Okay. Right. So what we have to do is to understand that. So at t is equal to 0, what would be the cash flow? Minus, I'm writing CK1 so that you can understand that that is the call option for the strike price K1. So because we are holding, we are paying it, and because we are writing, so we are getting this amount of money. Is it okay?
That premium amount that we'll be paying.
Yeah. So because we are holding, so the cash flow is negative, and because we are writing, so the cash flow is positive. And this is what is called the bull call spread. Is it okay?
Sir, from this, how can we understand that this is bull? Like,
I'm going to explain that one with the next graph. What do you mean by the bull? Okay. So let's say that at expiry, T is equal to capital T. So we are drawing the one dimension line, or right, and say that this is what it is following the ST, and we have divided it as in a three part, K1, K2 and K3. Sorry, K1 and K2. So if ST is less than K1, if ST is lying between K1 and K2, and if the spot price at expiry is greater than K2. So these are the three area which we have to look, because at that, in this three area, there would be a different cash flow. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what would happen in this area? The first one, if ST value at expiry or the spot price at expiry is less than K1, what will happen?
Sir, the right option will be exercised.
Which option will be exercised?
Sir, the right option.
Right option, which one? Okay, why? Why?
Sir, because the buyer of the right option will have an opportunity to make profit, so he will come to us and buy.
Come again. I mean, you have done some kind of mistake. Can you explain your part so that I can understand?
Sir, the buyer of the right option will have a profit, so he will come to us and buy.
How
because
he will have a profit? That's what I want to ask.
So the strike price is K2, but he will get it. Okay, sorry. Yeah. ST is less.
Sir, actually holding holding option will be taken out.
No, irrespective of, I always say that, no, past classes also, I have explained that one. When we talk about a call option will always be exercised, irrespective of whether you are holding or you are writing. Call option will always be exercised when the market price is more than the strike price. Think about as a holder of a call option. You want to buy, and you have a two option. Let's say that you have a two different from places from here you can buy. You always prefer to buy where the price is less.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if ST is less than K1, it means that whether you are even if you are a writer of an option, holder will try to see that if I'm going to buy from that no from my option, call option, or if I go and buy it from the open market where the price is less. So whenever wherever the price will be less, he will buy. I'm saying that ST is less than K1. It means that the market price at that time is less than the strike price. So if the person has to buy, he will go to the market. For us.
Yes, I got it.
Have you understood when the call option will be exercised? Please raise your hand if you have understood.
Sir, how writer will buy then? Because
writer has got no option. Writer has to sell. Writer of a call option has to sell. And it depends upon the holder of a call option whether he wants to buy or not.
actually he will not buy because the market price is less than K1
Right.
now,
So
so he
this
will not
option,
come to write.
yes. So this option will not be exercised.
Yeah, that's why only holding, like buying will be there.
There won't be any transaction. Neither the call option at K1 or call option at K2. Both of them will not be exercised.
Yes, sir. That person will go directly to market and purchase that asset.
Yeah, if he required, he will go and purchase that one from the market.
Yes, sir.
So I just, what I want to draw is the payoff diagram, correct? First, so the payoff here would be 0. And you can subtract this amount which you have paid initially, bringing it to the future value at expiry. You can subtract that one from the payoff to get the profit. Is it okay? So we'll first look at the payoff, then we can come back because a constant amount will be deducted in each of this one, so that we can calculate what would have been the profit.
Sir, can you explain why payoff is 0?
None of this exercise will be exercised, so there won't be any transaction.
Okay.
So if you want, I can write the profit also. So the profit would be minus CK1 at 0 plus CK2 at 0 and let's say e to the power RT. Right?
Yes, sir. Now it's clear, sir.
Correct. So we have to add this term in each of these payoffs to get the profit. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So come back to the second one. If it is between K1 and K2, what will happen?
We'll buy from the writer
Sir,
of the call option.
What will happen? Which option will be exercised?
Sir, holding would be
Yes, only option with the strike K1 will be exercised because now K1 is less than ST.
yes, sir.
Correct? So you can buy at K1 and you can sell it at a higher price as an holder. What you can do? You can buy at a lower price and you can sell at a higher price. So you will have a payoff, correct? And the payoff would be ST minus K1 because you are the holder.
Yes, sir. So at the same time, I will buy from like at a K1 and I will sell to the market as ST and get the
Yes.
profit.
Yes. Is it okay?
So in the first case, you have written the profit, but it should be loss, right? The thing that you have written in red.
Because I have just written the negative of this. Sorry, cash flow. I've already mentioned that this is we are paying and this is what we are, what we call it is, we are getting. So definitely because CK1 would be greater than CK2, this whole term would be negative itself.
Okay, sir. Like, okay. The negative term will itself explain that it will be in loss. Okay,
So
got
profit is negative, it means that the loss.
it. Okay, sir.
Right? And we can add this term, right? Plus this term we can add to get the profit.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now we come back to the third situation where ST is greater than K2 and it simply means that ST is also greater than K1. Correct. So in that case,
So
what
then
will
both.
happen? So I can write it as that what will be exercised here, it is whatever is there at K1. Here none of them will be exercised and here both of them will be exercised. Because we are holding the first one, the payoff we will be getting is ST minus K1.
Yes, sir.
But in the second one we are writing. So
Loss will be there.
So my payoff will be K2 minus ST. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you have
Yes,
understood these two cash flow. Any question regarding this one? Otherwise, I will explain. Because you can simply say that this will be the holder's payoff. So I will take the negative of that. That will become the writer's payoff. Is it okay? So look into this one. This ST will be crossed out and we will have a K2 minus K1 as a payoff, and we can add the same term here to get the profit. Let me mark that one in the red so that you will understand that I was talking about the profit. Is it okay? The payoff here.
So sir, like the third will be the most profitable now, because in second case ST is less than K2. So at max, like it will go to K2 something. That's why third would be the maximum profit in which we can get.
Yes, yes. So let's draw this one, and then I'll talk about under what circumstances we generally look for this. So I will draw the payoff first, and then we'll talk about profit. This is K1 and this is K2. So for the payoff one, right, between 0 to K1 there is nothing. So I can draw this one as a 0, right? From K1 to K2 it is simply increasing and reaching to maximum value of K2 minus K1. And then after K2 it is remaining constant as K2 minus K1. Is it not the payoff diagram?
Yes.
And if I have to add the profit one, a constant amount will be deducted in all together. And this becomes my profit. Okay. Have you seen the graph and have you understood?
Yes.
So can you tell me, when would you like to have this kind of investment?
Sir, when the difference between K2 and K1 should be like more than a certain number of value.
Okay. Anybody else? Paras, Anuj, Ankit Kumar. Jatin.
And sir, like K2 would be always be greater than K1. And
K2.
we are performing writing for K2 and this holding for K1. That is our fix.
Yes. Nilansh Verma, are you there? Nilansh Verma. Prathamesh Desmukh. Raghav.
So like we'll we'll get into the strategy like when this that profit, so like the loss that we have incurred at t is equal to 0, like when that is neglected by the profit that we have made at t is equal to t,
Right.
like when this purple graph like crosses that y is equal to 0.
So great, but let's try to understand. Suppose the market current at t is equal to 0, the market price is very close to K1. Okay, let's assume. And what you are anticipating, is at t, the market would hover around K2. So the market value of any asset is going to increase, and you are expecting that from K1, around K1, it will reach to K2. You don't want to own the asset. Rather, what you want to do, because you have this anticipation that the market price is going to increase, right? Try to understand this. When the market price is going to increase, or the asset value is going to increase by certain percentage from K1 to K2, let's explore that one. Why I don't want to buy an asset? Because if I buy the asset and the price falls below K1, I will lose my value. I just want to get, I just want to, don't want to lose by buying the asset. Rather, I just want to explore this scenario knowing that this company have a profit. So maybe in 3 months or 6 months time, his asset value is going to increase by this much of percentage. So this is the reason where I am actually thinking of that, and very close to K2, at T, at expiry, the prices of asset price would be around, and at present it is there. What if I actually if I buy the asset at right now, what can happen? I don't know. I will have a risk of losing it if the price falls below K1. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
So rather than buying an asset, I'm saying that this is when it is suitable. This strategy is suitable. Rather than buying an asset, if I enter into a bull spread, what I'm doing, if I buy an asset and if the price grows above K2, definitely I will have a more profit as compared to the bull spread. Yes or no?
Sir,
If
how we are
let's say that
comparing?
if the price becomes K3, which is greater than K2, right? If I have an asset at right now S0, correct? I can say that what profit I have got is K3 minus S0 e to the power RT. This is the profit I have got if I, instead of buying it at, instead of having a call spread, bull call spread, if I would have bought the asset at t is equal to 0 and the price would have been gone to K3, which is greater than K2. So this is the amount which I would have been a profit. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because if you want to understand, you can simply say that S0 is the amount I have taken from the bank and I bought the asset. And at expiry, I'm returning it to the bank. So my cash flow is negative here, and the K3 I'm getting it by selling into the market. But what if the price is below K1? Then I have a loss. Yes or no?
So S0 and K1 are same, right?
I'm saying that it is close to, because K1 and K2
Okay.
it's not that it's a spot price, but I'm saying that if the price is almost near to K1, not exactly K1, it can be near to the K1. That's not.
Yeah, it will be in loss. Yeah.
It will be a loss.
Yes, sir.
So to compensate the loss, what we will have here, I am letting go my sum of the profit which I can have here. Right, but this, if you look here from the probability point of view, right, jumping from K1 to K3 and jumping from K1 to K2, definitely the probability would be high for K2 as compared to K3. We will look into that one in the other next classes when we talk about how the prices, using a binomial one, we are trying to find it out how the price would go. Right. So what I'm doing it here. I'm letting some of my profit that can happen, because the maximum payoff I can have is K2 minus K1. Right. Irrespective of whatever is the market price at expiry above K2. By saying that, okay, if I always have a risk if the price falls below K1, then then I would have a loss. To compensate this loss, I'm basically I'm letting go some of my profit that can happen if the prices goes above K2. Is this explanation clear to you? Is this explanation clear to you, yes or no?
Yes, for me.
Yes, yes, sir. Like, sir, this bull spread strategy is kind of like risk averse strategy.
Yes, always. I mean, look, when I'm saying that when I will be having a bull strategy, then when I'm anticipating that the market, for any asset, the market price is going to increase. Again, this is my anticipation, right? I don't know what will happen at the expiry. So, if the price falls below K1, here it is, then I will have a loss. To compensate that loss, correct, instead of buying the asset at t is equal to 0, I am basically entering into the bull call spread.
So like we are, sir, sir, we are like fixing our maximum profit and our minimum loss.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So most of the risk strategy, when you follow the risk strategy, in most of the cases, if you want to hedge risk in a particular type, like here, if the price falls below, then we have to minimize our risk. That can only be done if we are letting go some of the profit which we could have realized if the prices has gone up. It's always this kind of strategy you will see.
Sir, bull spread
Okay.
basically means like we will buy at our maturity time, and at that point of time we will sell also. Like buy from that dealer, like that K, whatever K we had a contract or whatever it is. That is the whole bull spread
Bull,
basically.
yes, bull is holding at lower price and writing at the higher price.
Sir, is this also intended to increase the price of an asset?
What do you mean by this?
Like we are anticipating an increase in price, but let's say if I want a price of an asset to be increased, I will invest there, and so
So look, that in that case, I mean, buying 1 or 2 share or 4 or 5 share or asset is not going to affect much. If you really want to affect that one, and then you have to buy a hell lot of percentage of that particular stock, right? So 20%, if you want to buy 20%, 30%. So the rules and regulation has now come that if you want to buy above any certain percentage of stock of any company, you cannot just jump and buy 50% share of any company. Right? If you want to buy 50% share of the company because you are creating a demand in the market, you are, by different means you are trying that the price should go up. I mean, that is kind of a scam, I would say. Right. This is what you were asking now. If I would want to buy, and then be using this strategy, I'll force the market to increase its price. So, when you think about how much money do you need to do this?
yes, that's what I'm asking.
Do you have that much of money?
Maybe not now, but at a certain point of.
So when you will have that money, please contact me. Okay. In that case, we might look for a different strategy. Okay, Paras.
Yes.
Right. So let's take an example here.
But I just wanted to ask that this can be done by this strategy, right?
It's not the right one. I think rules and regulations are there which can stop you from doing this. Yeah, right.
But if I do it somehow, the prices might go up.
So you are, I mean that would is basically not. I mean the prices are not increasing because the company has a profit. The prices is increasing because of the external effect.
The demand and supply concept.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
People have done that in the past. I don't know whether, I mean, complete rules and regulation, I don't know about that, but it might, I don't know, that might not be possible in my opinion right now. So let's
Yes,
take an
agreed.
example, and you will draw that payoff diagram, correct? Payoff and profit diagram, right? This is the asset price at present, and what you are speculating that the price should go up by 10% in 3 months. Right now, look at the 3 scenario which you can have. First thing is you can buy a forward. Which is again the price is around 110. Second scenario you have been given. Hold a call option. And this premium amount is call option at 110, let's say that, and the premium amount is equal to 10. The third scenario is you have a bull spread with 100 and 110, correct? And the premium amount is 3. I mean, means you know, minus the difference between the premium of these two is the ₹3. So basically you have to pay ₹3 to get this bull spread. So can you draw the payoff of all these 3 scenario in a single graph and try to see that, okay, I mean, whether I will be able, under what circumstances I've been able to hedge the risk using this bull call spread. Can you do that one? Can you do that one? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Can you do this one? So all of you please try. If you won't, then I will do this one. What you can do, you can open the notebook. I guess there is a collaborative space. All right, you can write your roll number here and put your solution there. Even if you have done it on a paper, you can scan it or you can take a picture of that and you can paste it there. Can you do it? I'd like to see by next week, Wednesday class, I'd like to see how you have done that. All of you, please try.
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you have understood what I'm saying, what you need to do. Prathamesh Deshmukh, R. Raghav, Nilansh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now moving back to the second strategy, correct? That is called the bear spread. So what do you mean by bear spread is, instead of call option, I'll do the same thing with the put option. Hold a put option at higher strike price. And write a put option at lower strike price. Correct? For same asset and same expiry. So let's assume that expiry time is T, right? And there are two options, K1 and K2. Strike price. So what, if you assume that K1 is greater than K2, then what we are doing is we are holding put option at K1 and we are writing put option at K2. So for out of this K1 and K2, whose premium should be higher, for K1 or K2? Because this is a put option. Yes.
K2, sir.
K2 premium should be high. So the amount of the premium which I am paying at T is equal to 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So for which one should be higher, PK1 or PK2?
K1, sir.
Sir, K2.
No, K1. K1 is higher, na? So when you lower the strike price for the put option, your premium would also be come down. Yes or no?
Sir, can you please repeat that sentence that you just tell?
What is this? Do you remember from the previous class? We have K1 and K2. K1 is greater than K2. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You have to find, this is the put option.
Yes, sir.
Payoff, red one is with for the holder and the purple one, I guess, is for the writer. Right. So whose probability of exercising is higher, K1 or K2?
Sir, K1.
Right. So if the probability of exercising is higher, in that case, premium should also be higher.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if the put option, if I decrease the strike price, my premium should also decrease.
Yes, sir.
For going back for the call option, we have K1 and K2. So K1 is more and K2 is less in that example. Whose probability of exercising is more, with the K1 or K2? This is for the call option. Definitely K2.
K2. Yes, sir.
So if I decrease the strike price of a call option, my premium will increase.
Yes, sir.
right? So the same thing I'm asking. If we have K1 and K2 where K1 is greater than K2, whose premium should be high because this is a put option,
K1, sir.
right? So actually, this is a negative quantity which I'm looking here. So we have to pay some amount of money to get this beer spread. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you have understood this part.
So, sir, basically for both beer or bull, we have to pay some amount of money at equal to 0.
Yes, yes, yes. Great. So very quickly, let's try to see the same thing. This is, I guess, K2 now because we have said that K2 is less than K1. Correct? And this is ST value. So what will happen if ST value is less than K2? Which option will be exercised?
Yes, sir.
Right? So next class, I mean, please cover this one so that in the next, I mean, this today we have gone a little slow, but next class I have to cover too many. There are callers and butterfly. Right, important one. So please,
Sir, yes, sir, for in like less than K2, both will be there because because now we are selling at equal to capital T.
yes,
So if it is less than, then definitely the buyer will come to us basically, us for selling basically.
right,
Yeah.
right. So the market price is less and the strike price is more. So it's beneficial for me to sell as an holder to sell to the strike price as compared to the market price. But here what in this zone what is happening is market price is more than the strike price. So I will go in and sell into the market. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I have